In the Do Now, you'll see is a Google form. This is not graded, so just click on that link, U5L5 Do Now, and you'll be answering questions based on this short video. It's just over 3 minutes long, with NASA scientists fact-checking the movie The Martian. So all time is for 5 minutes to work on that, and then we'll come back together to review it. Let me know if something doesn't work for you. Go for it. Everybody, we're up to about 10 responses, so let's come back together. If you're still working, it's okay. You can keep submitting it. So quick show of hands, how many of you have seen the movie The Martian with Matt Damon and various other cast members? Most of you, good. If you haven't, I recommend you check it out. Use one of your weekends or something. I don't know where it's available. I don't think it's available for streaming on any easily accessible site, but it's worth checking out, especially given our topic. So first question was just kind of random. I don't even remember if this class has gone over this yet or not. Most classes have done inner planets, but I was noticing on our answers a little bit of disagreement. Does anyone know, how does the size of Mars compare to the size of Earth?
Half of it.
It is actually a lot smaller. Yeah, I don't know if it's quite half the size, but almost. It's actually much, much smaller than Earth, which is not something that I realized. I always thought Mars was the same size as Earth, but it turns out that I think what confuses people is that Mars has the same orbit time, right? That it has about a 25-hour day, or maybe it's 23. I think it's a little bit shorter, but overall, though, the size is actually a lot smaller. Anyway, that's something that I just thought was interesting and a cool takeaway. So it looks like most of you are in consensus that we probably will make it to Mars within our lifetime. One of the answers I liked a lot was that the major challenge isn't necessarily going to be getting out there, but it's going to be getting back. But one thing I hate to say is that I think in reality, if we really are going to have an eventual human mission to Mars, what do you think the people who sign up for that are going to have to be willing to do?
Die.
Yeah, it's pretty much not come back. I think with something like that and that distance, you're going to need people to commit to being like, you're going to make it, and you're going to have to just basically live out whatever's left of your life over there, until we can figure out something. So, and believe it or not, as far as I know, they have like actually started recruitment for that, and there are people who are like, sign me up, that's fine, I'll go for it. But again, that's decades and decades down the road, and it's been interesting to see that, honestly, like, does anyone know what's happened to NASA's funding recently? Is it a well-funded company anymore?
No.
It all got slashed. So, space exploration kind of fell behind other things, military spending, all that stuff. And so now it's interesting. It's more in the hands of private companies. Does anyone know Elon Musk's space company? You watch their video of the Falcon Heavy rocket. It's all funded by
SpaceX?
Yeah, it's called SpaceX, which is probably one of the bigger companies now. Who's the guy who runs Virgin, like Virgin Airlines? Forget his name. He's into like billionaire. They also have, Virgin Airlines has like a sort of a space agency that it's all kind of private sector now. So anyway, we'll see. I don't know. I'm hoping, Mars will be a target in the next couple of decades, but I think it's your guys' generation that'll be seeing that. So kind of cool to think about. So what was one thing that the movie got right?
Like Mars's landscape.
Yep. And some of that I think was filmed on Earth. There are some very iron-rich places on Earth where they filmed it, but I think the rest was sort of CGI for the background, and a lot of it was based, as they said, on photos of Mars's surface. If you watch the movie too, he goes and digs up one of the old rovers, and apparently that they remade that pretty accurately in size, things like that. I know they didn't mention that in the video. And most of you got this. What was the one thing that would not happen on Mars that happened in the movie? Right in the beginning.
Storm.
Yeah, you could have a storm like that, but to a human, it would feel like a light breeze. Like a violent storm on Mars would be nothing compared to like what we have here. Because anyone know what's true about Mars's atmosphere?
It's thin.
Very light.
Yeah, they say it's very thin, right? The air is diffuse, right? It's not as, you're not going to get a gust of wind like you do on Earth. So anyway, cool. All right, any other questions or comments on that? Alrighty then. Then without further ado, we're going to dive into our lessons. We are going to hear from Nadia, Bella, and Neil first on, forgetting the topic now,
The outer planet.
Outer planets. Okay. And Nadia, it looks like you recently threw up a discussion post. Is that what we should
I
use?
did. There's a video you guys should watch first. It's about a minute or two, and you should start at the minute 27-second point, because that is the part about the outer planets, and then there's an ed puzzle.
Got it. Cool. And so just follow that order. And all right, kids, I will time for 20 minutes and then we'll come back together to discuss. Go for it. Bella, Nadia, and Neil, you're just on standby in case we have questions or something doesn't work. You should work on those two Google Forms. Remember that I only need one multiple choice and one free response from you as a group, not from each of you. So yeah, the Google Forms are linked on the tasks thing right at the bottom of your lesson description thing. Kiddos, stop where you are. Let's come back together. Again, it's okay if you didn't make it through everything. It's actually my first time going through that lesson too. I haven't had my H period class. I actually have them right after you today. But just like before, what was something new or interesting that you learned or took from that?
I didn't know that there was like a Thelia planet. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah, I think Thea.
I learned about the giant impact theory, which I thought was interesting because it also said like how many, or like the composition of the moon, how similar it is to Earth, and just a lot of different details that I didn't know before.
I learned about the moon phases. I thought those were pretty cool.
Yeah, I like they had the little like assignment for today, like go out and see if you can figure out what phase the moon is in currently. Kind of interesting. So yeah, I thought that one video they used with the giant impact, I don't know if anyone watched that, like the graphics were pretty shoddy, but the information was great. I mean, it was a great visualization of I had no idea as well, this idea of a whole other planet forming with Earth and then colliding again. Yeah, it was interesting. Any questions that came to mind?
Yeah, I was wondering if there was any other theory other than the collision, like if there's other multiple ones as well out there.
Yeah, it was funny the way the website was set up that they had it in like two boxes, and so I thought there were going to be conflicting theories, but they actually, yeah, they both agreed with each other. So yeah, I'm curious about that too, if because I've heard some theories that the moon was kind of its own, like a little asteroid or something that was moving, passing by Earth, and Earth kind of caught it in its gravity, and so it was never a part of Earth. But now I think that, yeah, there's been a lot of study of moon rocks and the iron core that show similarities between that and Earth. And so, yeah, this the collision theory, the big collision theory, I think is the widely accepted one. But yes, I'm sure there are others out there that are thinking that maybe it was its own planet or, smaller planet that Earth kind of picked up separately. But yeah, I don't know. Or that it formed while Earth was forming. Also, another theory that I think I've read about. Did anyone get to the moon landing fake part? There's a little article they posted and a couple images. So it's sort of funny. A lot of people claim that the moon landing was faked because, does anyone know, I mean, why would the US do that? Like, why would we fake the moon landing? Anyone know what the motivation was at that time?
Like
beat Russia.
They called it the space race, right? Russia was also trying to get to space. It was when the USSR was becoming a very powerful, united country, and so the US was pretty intimidated by it and wanted to get to the moon first. And so, yeah, it was this big deal. And a lot of people think, and the article hit on it perfectly, that Stanley Kubrick was recruited to use his special effects expertise to film a fake landing and all that. But anyway, since a lot of it's been debunked, I like the article shows you a lot about how the lighting and the photos would have been almost impossible to recreate because it's coming from all these different angles. And but there's all these little things that people point to that they think the whole thing was faked. And so I know as well that there are currently satellite images of the surface of the moon where you can see the landing pods, you can see the stuff they left behind. So it's pretty definitive that we did make it up there. But I do think it is a little weird that we did all this in the 60s and then stopped. Like we literally, no human has been back there since then. And so part of which though is that it lost that sort of political space race like thing to get there. Has anyone seen, there's a new show actually out now, I think on Amazon Prime or on Hulu, where it's an alternative history where Russia made it to the moon first. And then the moon kind of becomes like a little war zone battleground between Russia and the US that they're both trying to get up there. Anyway, it looks interesting. I haven't watched it, but I saw a trailer for it and I was like, oh, kind of creative. What do you guys think of the Padlet website? Was it kind of confusing, easy to use?
I loved the format because it was just easy to navigate, and all the they had multiple checkpoints. So there was what was it, a Kahoot, and just a lot of
I
response.
feel like they had all these videos with relaxing music, you know, it was like, watch 30 seconds of this. It was like funny little oh, okay, I'm ready to go on to the next thing. This sort of a funny thing they added in there. I don't know what it is about me. I don't know about you, but like my brain, and I think just the way the internet has always worked, I always want to go down, you know, you want to go down the lists. And so it was a little weird having to go across like the 1, 2, 3, 4, but otherwise, yeah, I thought it was great. So, all right, any other feedback or questions? All right, kids, thank you very much. Your only homework is if you did not finish a lesson or did not provide feedback yet on one of the 2 lessons, please make sure to do that. Again, I know it's weird having a guest lesson, but just hit reply on the post that I made on the Canvas discussion board, or leave them a post on their Flipgrid, because then they can go watch that on their own if you have feedback specifically for Lily and Milena. Next week, we're going to hear from Molly and Carmen. You'll be ready then, and then we'll have one more guest lesson from Cora and Olive in my Science 2C class on the first part of chapter 28, but then we'll be done and we'll be leading into the test. So just make sure that you've provided your feedback, filled in the Google Forms, and you're all set. All right, kids, thank you very much. Have a good day, and I'll hang around if anyone has any individual questions or concerns. Have a good one.
Thank you.